Under life pressure, Charlie, a PhD, had to work as a telemarketer at an internet firm, a true high education, low pay example. On his first day at work, Charlie met an interesting fellow named Gus, a smooth talker who seemed like a natural crowd pleaser. Charlie quickly hit it off with Gus, who shared that he had a poor daughter in dire need of a hefty sum for speech training. He couldn't afford it, watching his daughter suffer more. Charlie sympathized but just patted Gus' shoulder in comfort. At this time, Charlie didn't know Gus would change his life drastically. That day, fired for a work mistake, he headed home. Gus suddenly called him and said he had a secret plan to help Charlie earn more. Let's see what this golden plan is. That night, Gus finally revealed his secret plan members in a database were secretly visiting adult sites. Wow, a bombshell. More shockingly, he discovered one of them was a famous local pastor. Talk about a secret under the steeple. Gus decided to use this info to blackmail the pastor, who wouldn't want to ring the bell for quick cash. Gus hoped Charlie would collaborate, but Charlie refused at once upon hearing about illegality, unwilling to join in. At this time, Gus showed his daughter's photo, began sob story, asking for a small friendship fee. After careful thought, Charlie joined the scheme to better his family's life and become a superhero. Little did he know this would mark the tragic beginning of his life. Just as Gus was outlining the plan, an unfamiliar woman suddenly appeared like a plot twist. Gus was astonished to see her. It was Josie, his one-night stand. Charlie, however, couldn't care less. He only wanted to know why, but Josie didn't hold back, bluntly stating she wanted to join their little escapade. Why a show-off character? Gus disagreed, but Josie gave a reason they couldn't refuse, ridiculous yet funny. If something happened, the police could quickly ID them by voice, and Josie, being an outsider, was the obvious choice to call. Thus, the Blackmail trio was officially formed, a truly unusual team. Soon, they found a victim and had Josie dial up the pastor, outlining their demands. Now that's what I call a skilled. Charlie and Gus thought they'd ask for $100,000, but Josie said $200,000, asking for trouble. This left the two dumbfounded, thinking there was no way the pastor would agree to such an amount. Was she just a background character after all? Surprisingly, the pastor agreed readily, telling them to get the money at his home the next night, so unexpectedly smooth. However, things were far from simple. The call they'd made was set to trigger a comical chain of events. What a mix of tears. And the next night, they kicked off their plan, each playing different roles. It was like a dark comedy unfolding. Charlie faked an alibi for himself and Gus, then met someone he shouldn't. Awkward. Gus headed to the pastor's house for the cash, while Charlie planned to find Gus, but all the chaos made his plan even more complicated. As soon as Gus entered the pastor's house, he was met with a gun to his head, a surprise twist that sent his heart racing. He hurriedly explained he was there for the money, but the other party was clueless. It was a comedy of misunderstandings. Just then, Charlie arrived and found the body of that man from earlier, thinking Gus had done it. What a horrifying plot twist. Panicked, he called Josie to tell her what happened, a moment of sheer terror. Charlie hurriedly dragged the body away to avoid detection. What a scene straight out of black humor. Soon he met Gus, bluntly asking about the man downstairs. The reaction seemed staged. Gus, shocked, said he had merely knocked that guy out, meaning Charlie had accidentally killed him, a remarkable misunderstanding. Faced with this reality, Charlie was nearly in shambles, yet they had to clean up the scene. Talk about high pressure. Charlie decided to confess to the police, but Gus stopped him. Things were getting even trickier. How absurd. Charlie sadly discovered had left Josie's card at the scene. That terrified them. It was almost comical. As Gus stood up and accidentally bumped into a cabinet, he kicked it in frustration. His antics were downright theatrical. Suddenly, a pile of discs fell out of the cabinet, revealing footage of a murder scene. At that moment, Charlie vomited in fright. Black humor strikes again. They've only wanted to dabble in blackmail, but now they were entangled in something far worse. Life is indeed a cyclical comedy. Charlie suggested calling the cops. Even though the murderer wore a mask, he suspected the pastor might be a maniac. What a dream shatter. But Gus raised doubts about how they would explain the situation here to the police upon their arrival. What an utterly ridiculous and perplexing dilemma. After discovering the pastor's corpse, the detective concluded he was killed by 3 bullets. Charlie was stunned, realizing he'd wrongly killed an innocent. Panic gripped him. If the man wasn't the pastor, who in the world was he? The urgency of this mystery was escalating just like a plot twist. After the detective's investigation yielded no useful leads, he stumbled upon drag marks in the backyard, igniting it, and what began as simple extortion turned into murder, body disposal, kidnapping. Things got wildly out of hand. Charlie collapsed, deeply down, and confessed to the detective a heroic choice. Yet he failed to notice the pastor's body lurking behind him. It was straight out of a horror movie scene. His mental torment pushed him to the edge, and ultimately, he had no choice but to confess, a truly helpless decision. Charlie couldn't let things escalate, yet Gus brandished a gun at him, shocking. "If you dare to confess, I'll kill you." That line was the perfect encapsulation of dark humor.